Welcome back to Testosterone Sports. It is week 5 in the NFL, and this is the extra segment here at the end of the television show. So we put together this segment because the trading season is right around the corner in fantasy football. We wanted to put together a little buy low and sell high segment for you all out there. You're going to want to take a look at the scope of your league, target a few of the players that we're going to share with you, and then bail on a few of the players that we're going to share with you as well. So I'm Jeff. I'm the Damon Dash to Jesse's Jay-Z, and this is our crew, Yeasty and Zach. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us here on this segment. So let's start off with our buy low players. These are guys you're going to want to target. Yeasty, let's start with the quarterback position. Why don't you share who you chose at buy low and tell us why?
Well, I chose Brady Quinn of my beloved Cleveland Browns because I think Derek Anderson sucks ass, basically. I mean, the guy's terrible. He hasn't looked good at all. He's basically one more bad game away from being on the bench. So Brady Quinn's probably still on your waiver wire. If somebody does have him, you could get him relatively cheap. So go out and get Brady Quinn for a buy low quarterback.
Any idea why Brady Quinn didn't get in the game last week?
No.
I thought it was the whole
Romeo
point of
Crennel is stupid, maybe? I don't know. Brad Childress or Romeo Crennel,
frustrating.
who would you rather have?
Neither.
Exactly.
That was a huge mistake. I'm not sure why they did that. So
Well, he had him all amped up the whole week, getting more reps, and then Derek Anderson comes out and totally flops.
he was thumbing his nose at the great Jim Brown, all-time running back from the Browns. He sits on their board of directors. So I think Jim might have something going there. I'm with you, Yeasty, about quarterback buy low on Brady Quinn.
Totally.
Zach, why don't you share with everybody out there who your buy low quarterback is?
The quarterback I'm going to suggest to buy low on is Matt Hasselbeck of the Seattle Seahawks. He's getting his 2 receivers back. I know Deion Branch and Bobby Ingram are both coming back this week. He's coming off a bye. He hasn't produced a whole lot yet this year, but he's a high-quality quarterback. He had a really solid year last year through 28 touchdowns, and I just feel like he's a guy you can get on the cheap end, and he can be a legitimate number 1 on your team, if not a really good number 2 on your team. So definitely buy low on him, and he'll produce for your team.
Yeah, he's been struggling so far with no wide receivers. Another guy who's been struggling, who I'll throw in there right quick, I think that you can buy low on Carson Palmer. Basically, he's the 28th rated quarterback right now in the league. He's not going to finish with only 171 yards per game, so see if you can get him because I know the owner's got to be real frustrated with him right now. Let's move on to a little bit more important position. The running game wins championships in fantasy football. Yeasty, we'll start again with you. Who's your buy low running back?
I'm going to say Ryan Grant of the Green Bay Packers. I would go out and get Ryan Grant. I would also grab Brandon Jackson off the waiver wire if you do that. With Aaron Rodgers being banged up, there's going to be more emphasis off the running game. Word out of Green Bay is that he's stepped it up from the hamstring injury. He's healing nicely from that. So I say Ryan Grant is a good buy low.
Sure, I can understand that. Well, sticking in the NFC North right quick, I'll throw mine in there. I really like Rudy Johnson as a buy low running back. He's been named the starter. They're coming off a bye. I know they play against Chicago, does Detroit, but he's toting a 5.5 yard average right now, had a great 34-yard touchdown through the air 2 weeks ago, and as they're coming off bye, I think he will be solid for you. You can go get him. Zach, your buy low running back?
I'm going to go with Maurice Jones-Drew of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's starting to pick it up a little bit, and they're going to start getting him a few more carries. Not only that, he's a good receiver out of the backfield, but definitely the Jaguars' offensive line was struggling a bit right away. They lost a lot of guys to injuries, and those guys are starting to gel a little bit, and you can see that they're starting to be a little more productive in the run game. And I'm just thinking he's a guy you can get on the cheap end. He's going to start producing a lot more down the stretch of the season. So.
Moving on to the wide receiver position, there's been a lot of guys who haven't really stepped forward so far who we thought were going to. Several names come to my mind, one being Braylon Edwards. If you can go after Braylon Edwards and the guy that has got him is frustrated with him, or if you can pry him out of his hands for lack of feeling so horrible about selling low,
shouldn't be hard.
You can go get him. But I know that these guys have another couple of wide receivers. Zach, why don't you start with yours?
My buy low receiver is going to be Santonio Holmes of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was hyped up in the preseason. He's coming off a really good sophomore season, and there's a lot of expectations of him. Having this big campaign this year in his 3rd year. But I think a lot of it has to do with the offensive line play struggling. Big Ben struggling, but I think it is going to start coming around. He caught a touchdown last week, had 60 yards in the score, and is an impressive catch and run for a touchdown. I just think he's going to start picking it up and become a reliable receiver down the stretch.
One thing that Holmes is dealing with also is his first time in his career he's been dealing with the double team. So you want to kind of keep an eye on what's going on there. I think that as he progresses, he will start to beat that more and more. One other player that constantly has been dealing with double teams pretty much since he came into the league is your guy. Yeasty, share with us who he is.
I'm going to say Andre Johnson of the Houston Texans. I think Matt Schaub's coming around. Their line is developing. They've got a steady threat out of the backfield with Steve Slayton. Andre Johnson, probably a little slow because of the knee injuries and stuff like I touched on earlier with Jesse in another segment. But Andre Johnson's my buy low receiver. I think there's no way he's going to finish with averaging about two catches a game and 20 to 25 yards a game. Andre Johnson should bounce back.
And their schedule's going to ease up a little bit. They've had a pretty tough schedule to start the season. So.
Okay. Well, you're paying close attention. We're spitting out gold nuggets to you right now. Guys you can go after to help your fantasy squad get over the bipocalypse hump, get prepared for the fantasy playoffs. So right now what you're going to want to do is take a look at your wire. Your lineups. Most guys have one or maybe two guys who they think they probably should sell high on. We're going to touch base on all those guys right now. And we'll start at the quarterback position. Again, EC, let's start with you. Who's your sell high quarterback?
This is going a little bit out on a limb because he's played so well, but just history hasn't shown that he can stay healthy for a full year, and that's Donovan McNabb.
Sure.
So if you can go out and fill another need at your position and take a quarterback like a Matt Schaub or somebody else that's going to put up some decent numbers, get some great value for a big name and a guy that's probably not going to make it through the whole season like Donovan.
Sure, certainly. And they play in such a tough division that it makes sense that those teams are going to hang losses on each other and really do what they can to get after the quarterback. Another quarterback that you've got for sell high, Zach?
I got one that a lot of people may or may not agree with, and that's Brett Favre of the New York Jets. He's got 9 touchdown passes in the last 2 games, and he's not going to throw 6 touchdowns again in another game this season. And I think as the season goes on, they're going to try and establish the run a little bit better. They have a really strong offensive line. Thomas Jones hasn't had as many opportunities as he had last year, and I think they're going to try and get him the ball a little bit more, use Leon Washington a little bit more, especially down the stretch of the season when the running game becomes a lot more important.
Sure. Well, because of the fact that Brett Favre came from Green Bay, I think that the starter in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, will be tied all season to Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers is a guy who I think that you should sell high on. He's got this sprained shoulder. He's not participating nearly as much. And I think that buyer beware as far as he goes. Try to get out of him if you can. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year, and I just don't think that pace is going to continue. Onto the running back position, there's a lot of names out there, guys who have been producing at a high level who we don't necessarily think are going to continue this pace. I can think of a couple, Joseph Adai, Larry Johnson kind of guys. I'm sorry if I stole your running back.
Go ahead,
did I
bro.
steal your running back?
That's all right.
Tell us about Joseph Adai and how come you think that he's a good sell high.
Well, he'll do good against the defenses such as the Houston Texans, things like that, but he gets dinged up almost every game. He's going to miss some time, and chances are he's going to miss even added time as the season goes on and maybe miss a game or two. I just think you can get quite a bit for him right now. So get rid of him and get some extra players that have upside on him.
He's got good skill and good talent, but he takes so many hits that and he seems to come out of a lot of games. So I'm feeling your flow on that. That's
okay, bro. It's all right. It's all right.
Zach, share with us who your sell high running back is.
My sell high running back is going to be Julius Jones, Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, Matt Hasselbeck was a buy low. I'm going to sell high on Julius Jones. He's had 2 really good games in a row where he's had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. Granted, one of those games was against the St. Louis Rams, which everybody seems to light up these days. But not only that, Maurice Morris will be coming back off injury, and he's going to be starting to get some more carries, and TJ Duckett's getting goal line carries as well. So after his 2 really productive games that he's had, I suggest you get rid of him and try and get any value you can if you can get some value out of him.
Sure. Julius Jones never has really impressed that much as a starter to begin with, so I totally feel what you're saying there, Zach. Let's move on to wide receiver real quickly. Why don't you start, Yeasty, and just give us your feelings about who your sell high wide receiver is.
I'm going to say sell high on Eddie Royal. He's going to have some good games where he gets 9 catches for 105 yards like he did last week when he has favorable matchups, but the consistency factor isn't going to be there, and I think he's not going to be any higher than he is right now. So go out and get some value for Eddie Royal.
Yeah, I can purchase what you're peddling on the consistency tip. He is a rookie, and they have 2 other really quality targets.
Not only that, they're going to have to start running the ball sooner or later in Denver.
Sure. Well, hopefully they can bring back Travis Henry.
Not going to happen.
So why don't you do a rail and tell us really quick, Zach, what your take is on another sell-high wide receiver?
My sell-high wide receiver is going to be Santana Moss of the Washington Redskins. He's been solid all year long. He's had a touchdown each and every game this year. I just don't see him keeping that pace up for the remainder of the season. If you can get another number 1 that you feel a little more confident in throughout the season, if you can get like an Andre Johnson, like even another player in return for Santana Moss, I think that'd be a really good value. So he'd be my guy to sell high on.
Okay, so that's the buy low and sell high players that we have for you here in this final segment of our show. Really quick, we wanted to go through a few players that you just want to bail out on, and these guys are going to suck all year long. Travis Henry notwithstanding. Bail out on Mark Bulger and Torrey Holt, as well as Lawrence Maroney, Chad Johnson, and Willis McGahee. You see, you had one too.
I already said it. Derek Anderson, bail on that a-hole. Pick up Najee Davenport out of from the Steelers' backfield. He'll be rolling in a couple of weeks.
Najee Davenport makes an excellent fantasy waiver gem, as well as LaRon McClain from Baltimore, who's quietly stealing the job from Willis. And then Zach, you had one as well.
I have a waiver wire pickup. I have a guy you can go pick up was Kevin Walters of the Houston Texans. He's getting a lot more looks. He's getting single coverage looks, and he gets a lot of red zone looks because he's a big receiver, and Andre Johnson's taking all the pressure off him. So.
Well, that's all the time we have for our Saturday night show. We'd like to thank you once again for joining us. It's been Jesse and Jeff and Yeasty and Zach bringing you all the knowledge, a little bit of fun, breaking down the matchups. We'd like to thank Eric Nelson for joining us. Keep coming back every single week. Don't forget www.testosteronesports.com. Right now, come on to the website. I'll be there now. Come on to the chat room and ask all the questions you have for your strategy. And you do that because if you want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Have a good night, everybody.